Good morning, everybody. Holly Claire's social media advisor. I am so excited to introduce you today to Dr. Allie Hill. We had the opportunity to connect within the last month, and let me tell you, my friends, if you are a woman in business, you need to be connected to Dr. Allie Hill. I am so excited for this conversation today. There's very few people in my life that I meet for the very first time, and I'm just like, I'm in love with you. And that is my experience with Dr. Allie. So, welcome, my friend. I'm excited to host you today. I'm excited to talk about how you serve people in business and what you're seeing for women entrepreneurs as an executive advisor. So, welcome. How would you like to introduce yourself today?
Thank you so much for being here. The feeling is mutual. It's so lovely when you get connected through a friend and colleague, and it's just the best connection ever. So, hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Allie Hill. I am the founder of a company called Sound Advice Women. At Sound Advice Women, we serve entrepreneurs and founders in a myriad ways. And I am a sociologist, a business owner, a mom, an emotional intelligence evangelist,
Oh, yes.
really love me some EQ. And I really believe that the future for women in business is in entrepreneurship. We live in a society where a lot of the systems and as we have seen lately, really weren't built for women leaders. And so my philosophy at this point is, you know what? If you want to have power, you also need money, and you don't get rich working for somebody else, right? So I work with women to really take their expertise, their passion, their intelligence, their hard work, and turn it into something that also feels authentic every single day because it's theirs. And that's me. And that's the work I'm lucky enough to do every single day.
You know, I think this is so important, this conversation to have, especially in this time of pandemic, where the last 12 months, women are trying to figure out, people in general, but women specifically, trying to figure out what do they want their life to even look like.
Yep.
And, you know, we've walked this journey of keeping up with the Joneses and keeping up with certain standards that were created based off of just a subconscious culture of this is how you need to behave.
Yep.
And now we're at a place of I can do whatever I want that makes me happy, fills my soul, and I can make money at it. And I am personally seeing more and more women entrepreneurs budding out of their place of complacency and silence into a place of action and movement and success because they're living their best life following their dreams of things that they didn't even know were possible.
It's exactly right. And the thing is, the fact that we are seeing so many women kind of emerging, I read this fabulous thing in the Financial Times about the pandemic as a portal.
Hmm.
Right? And that visual of, like, if you're walking through the portal, what are you bringing with you? And what are you leaving behind? Are you packing light? Are you bringing a ton of suitcases? Or are you just getting your cute backpack on? Like, what's coming with you? Right? Because we are in this kind of crucible moment where you can make a decision because so
Yes.
much will not be as it was. So, they talk about in history when big changes have happened, usually there have been two major things that happened at once. And I think we are seeing that. The pandemic has brought to light other issues. We've seen it in politics. We have seen it in race relations. We have seen it in we have seen finally, and as a sociologist who focuses in gender, finally this myth that women made personal choices that led to their frustrations and struggles. No, it was a society that
Mm-hmm.
set us up to fail because we had so many things on our plate, right? When women were leaving the workforce, not because they wanted to, but because the myriad other roles they played, they couldn't juggle all of them at once. It stops being about an individual woman who said, well, I choose to work outside the home and be a mom. No, no. you're having to do all of these things and it's untenable. And you had this precariously balanced house of cards that you somehow made it through the day. Maybe you were exhausted, but you made it. And then with the pandemic, it was like a flick of the fingers on that house of cards. And it just all came tumbling down.
Yes.
And so I think it's no longer this narrative that people chose it. No, it's a society that set us up to have to do too many things. And rather than giving us real choices, it was like, well, if you want to do this, if you want to work outside the home, well, you have to add that, because nobody is going to take away some of these other things, right? And women are waking up to, this is untenable. I don't even enjoy what I was doing. Somebody else, to your point, had defined success for me. And by the way, for many, that success looked like a bi-monthly paycheck, health insurance, some kind of paid time off. But if you look at it, actually, 5.4 million women lost their jobs between February of 2020 and December of 2020.
Wow.
So when you
Wow.
think, so we've really taken a whack at this myth of the bi-monthly paycheck as safety and security. So many women said, no, I need that safety and security, because as women, we're socialized to value security over calculated risk taking, right? We're told to watch out for danger more often than look out for opportunity, right? Physical safety, emotional safety, financial safety. So then they say, well, in order to kind of live by that definition of feeling safe and successful, I better go get a job. Whereas I'm saying, nope. If you actually want to have financial safety, physical safety, and emotional safety, make the rules yourself and do it yourself. So in
Yes.
essence, I turn it on its head and say, actually, those three things, you can value them. But then what you're telling me is you actually want to be an entrepreneur, not work for somebody else. I'm using the same narrative. I'm just showing that actually that narrative is best played out in entrepreneurship, not working for somebody else.
Create your own wealth, create your own dreams. And you're limitless. That's my word for this year. I believe that we, in this time of lockdown,
Mm-hmm.
we can be limitless. We don't have to be put in a box. We can define what that looks like for us. We can create, we can imagine, we can live in our dreams, not just witness to them. And I don't know. The second I met you, I said, you know what, this lady is, she's on a path of something great. And I know some of the women that you've worked with and helped them create their dreams. And I've watched their programs flourish. And I didn't know that you were involved until later. And it was like, wow, that is the coolest program. That is the coolest system. That's so creative. The processes and systems that came along with it, out of the box inventive. And I'm like, I cannot wait to one day meet the person who helped them and guided them to this point. And here I am today, getting to sit with somebody who I can't wait till we can meet in person.
I know. It's going to be so much fun.
We're gonna have a blast. I mean, we're just talking about we're gonna weekend. We're gonna
Yes.
tour Colorado and
Woo!
explore all the native Colorado stuff. And yeah, I can't wait for that. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a total girls trip, and who knows, we might tag along some of our familiar friends that we both mutually know that we had no idea that I knew.
Yes.
This is a really powerful conversation, and so with all of this and all the thought, and like we can walk in our dreams, we can take the next step in our destiny. What is one piece of advice that you would give women who are thinking about walking that journey? Just what's the first step?
I think the first step in the journey is recognizing that your gut is never wrong. It takes time to listen to it. It takes skill to implement what it tells you.
Yeah.
but start with listening to it in the ways that you can, right? Because here's the thing, just like I was saying before, that we're socialized, again, nerdy sociologist here, we're socialized to not believe our gut and to not believe in ourselves, because that is actually where we're powerful, right? A system that wants women to not have power is going to convince us that our gut and that our emotions are actually detriments to our intellect, that they are going to steer us in the wrong direction when it comes to business. And it's actually 180 degrees from that. Our emotions, our instincts are actually what are going to make us extraordinarily effective and successful. But it's also going to make us not want to continue to kind of walk in lockstep with a society that doesn't value us as full humans.
Yeah.
So it's a little radical, right? It's actually radical to trust your own gut, believe it or not. In 2021, it's still radical. So
It absolutely is. You know, I started a YouTube channel for cooking. Well, I call it the Holly Hobby.
Holly Hobby,
Yes.
I had like a whole Holly Hobby, like vanity scenario in my
Aww.
bedroom growing up. So yes.
So
Uh,
imagine Holly Hobby, as you remember, with like the flower dress and the flowers in the
uh-huh.
hands and the little bonnet,
Yeah.
as an edgy one with like darker colors, purples, and like. So I'm in the garden, I'm crafting and I'm cooking, and every ounce of everything I know that's right in the world, right, said, this is dumb. This is dumb. This is so lame. And you know, who are you actually talking to? All the naysaying thoughts and feelings of the world. And I sat to myself, I said, yeah, that's how I know it's actually the right thing to do.
Yep.
So I'm not going to let this negative talk stand in the way of this. And I'm not going to be a perfectionist with it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to have somebody edit my videos. I'm still going to sit down and create. I'm going to change things over time. And you know what? Damn it, I can do it because other people do it.
That's exactly right. And you know, I love that you just said this, because I have a group for women entrepreneurs and founders called Click Club, which is rooted in reading books. And it's really fun. And so in February, our book was called The Body Is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love by Sonia Renee Taylor. Everybody needs to read it. I'll leave it at that, or else I'll use our whole time talking about it.
Oh, we'll put it totally in the chat.
But one of the things that she says, which is dovetails with what you just said, which is so brilliant, right? Is that we are love. Any voice in our head that is not love is not our voice. So I
Yes.
came up with this thought, which was, do not confuse where you hear the voice with its origin, right? So just because you hear it in your head doesn't mean that's where it originated. If you hear a voice in your head that is a naysayer, that actually originated outside of you. Just because of where you hear it, don't credit with where you hear it with where it came from. Super important distinction. People think, oh, it was in my head. It's my voice. Clearly I should listen to it. Sister. No. It's in your head because you've been told over and over that message, but it's not your voice.
Yes.
And so
I've literally slow blinked you 3 times. That's my cat's love language for saying I love you. Um, yes, keep going. Like I just wanted to tell you, like, I'm resonating and receiving what you're saying, in addition to like agreeing with it. Like I receive that as someone who is still getting the stuff, you know?
everybody is. It's not stopping, right? I mean, but if you have this very effective um, response to it, right? It's this voice is not my voice. So why would I listen to it? Going back to this is anti what my gut tells me. Why would I listen to it? Right? You get into this very quiet place where you may be fearful of the tactical. That's why people come to you. That's why people come to me. But it starts with them saying, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to figure out the kick-ass women who are going to help me. It doesn't mean knowing how to do everything. It doesn't mean going it. And, you know, one of the things we talk a lot about in Click Club is, whereas fear of failure is an obstacle to entrepreneurship, isolation is the dream killer, right?
Yeah.
It's not the fear that kills the dream. It's not having people around you to share the struggles, to ask the questions, who get it, who empathize, not sympathize, who really understand it. I am meeting so many women, who don't have other women in their lives who are entrepreneurs. Their friends work for other people or they don't work outside the home. There is just nobody in their life who understands the drive. They see them struggling and they say, why work this hard? What is so then they feel a little bit like, oh my God, am I a crazy person? Like, everybody around me thinks that this is something that to them looks so hard. So they're
Yeah.
trying to be protective, right? It's coming from a good place. And you're saying, no, this is my hero's journey. This is the walk that I'm doing. That, so I need people around me who get it, who,
Yeah.
this past Friday, I was so exhausted. It was a long week. And I had this adage, and I said it to one of my friends, a fellow entrepreneur. I said, I have to remember, when you are tired, you don't give up, you rest. And that is so powerful, because when you are bone exhausted, you just want to throw in the towel. But rest, don't give up, right? And I think all of these pieces, trusting your gut, having a community around you who can keep you from feeling isolated, not giving up, but resting. These are the answers to success in entrepreneurship. They really, really are. And
Yeah.
we need to, allow ourselves the community it takes to create your entrepreneurial venture. There are so many myths around the lone wolf entrepreneur, around the genius in his garage, right? We have it over and over. I don't need to belabor it. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. They're absolutely myths. They're these one-off situations. And then they create a narrative where people don't feel like they get to be entrepreneurs, because it also starts to anthropomorphize entrepreneurship. Well, you have to be this gender. You have to be this race. You have to have this education level. You have to come from this socioeconomic place. Oh, and you have to have this type of funding. And I reject that wholesale. That is who is owning entrepreneur. And I'm like, no, none of those things matter. And by the way, what gets used instead of entrepreneur? Small business owner. And I say to my clients, do me a favor. If you decide that you want to build a business that's a lifestyle business that is small in scope, fabulous. But until you know what you're going to build, could you not define its size?
Oh. Woo. Okay. So, uh, I direct a chapter in Weibo Network, and
Yes.
one of the things that we've always promoted is that it was an intimate relationship. And the vision that I received in December was not of such.
Mm.
It was expansive
Mm.
to limitless levels. And when I presented it to my team, they were like, yeah, yeah. Why are we putting ourselves in the soapbox? And I'm in love with Weibo. I love everything that we're doing there, but it is actually changing mindset
Yes.
to go from this to unbelievable possibilities. And you're so right. I hear so often, one day. Okay, so I hate the one day. But one day I'll have enough money set aside so I can invest in and qualify for and stop. I started my business 17 years ago in my nursery with my baby with the computer that we already owned.
Right.
There was no startup cost. And you can do that. You can achieve great things without having the expectations of all these other things weighing you down. Society does not have to dictate how your business goes. You
Exactly.
create your magic. Your vision is in your craft. And in fact, your entire history leading up to today has given you the skills and expertise to get you where you are and
Yep.
what your next step is. So, your one day is actually you taking a step in the place that you already have the gifts.
So to that end, I saw a fabulous quote that I think will really resonate. It says, one day or day one, you choose.
Mm, so powerful.
Right? So powerful. And you are 1000% right. Never in the history of entrepreneurship has there been the possibility of amplifying your message for free. Has there been the ability to track data, project management software, ways to connect with people that don't require massive funds for travel? Part of what I do with my clients is we hack together a whole bunch of solutions at the beginning as we're building their infrastructure that is a combination of free and paid,
Yes.
right? And most of it is free at the beginning because they don't need a robust enough system yet to get into, there's so many freemium models out there. But
Yes.
at the beginning, when they have smaller amounts of data or fewer contacts, we can use the free part of that freemium and then make sure we like it and then grow into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There has never been a time. It used to be you had to buy an advertisement in a newspaper, buy an advertisement on the radio, buy an advertisement on television. You needed to, if there were software or hardware, you needed to have incredible amounts of startup capital. Obviously, I believe you should have some startup capital because you don't want to feel, as things come up, constantly stressed, right? Because when you don't have any money, you end up in a scarcity mindset, which will affect your ability to think. If you've
Yeah.
never read the book Scarcity, Why Having Too Little Means So Much, read it. Fabulous book. Really talks also about the neuroscience around abundance and scarcity and taxing your bandwidth. And again, nerdy sociologist here, I really like to think about neuroscience because so much of this is your brain getting in the way? Is your brain, is she telling you stuff? I say to my clients all the time, I would like, where possible, to keep this out of your limbic system, out of your amygdala, because your amygdala is going to go fight, flight, or freeze. I know there's also tend and befriend, but really, I want to keep this in the logic center of your brain because we have a lot of work to do. And I don't want the part of your brain that keeps you from getting eaten by a tiger, that wants you to stay alive. It does not like entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship feels way too vulnerable. So it will keep telling you not to do it because it's trying to keep you alive. Literally, it's a very ancient part of your brain. So we need to keep it out of that part because it is not going to want you to do something that feels risky, right? Calculated risk taking is an absolute necessity inside entrepreneurship. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be risk loving to a point where you make, foolish decisions. It's intentional. People go from one extreme to the other, safety versus risk taking. It's a continuum. And we can work on what feels safe. I like to say, like, here's your comfort zone. Like, I want to be like here, not here,
Yeah.
because here is paralysis. We will get nothing done. But here is where you'll stretch and grow. So you have to be in a place where you understand that your brain, one of my clients, we call that voice, we named her, we call her bitchy. And when bitchy, and so literally when we're talking, I'm like, all right, we know bitchy's going to rear her head on this one. And we figure out how we're going to answer her, right? We get ahead of her. I'm a consultant, right? Always got to be 10 steps ahead. So we know she's going to pop out and you're going to be vulnerable or tired, or you're going to be falling asleep and she's going to just launch. We need to have an answer for her because she cannot derail you. So we plan for it, right? This is the real life. There is no kind of, you should be beyond having that. No, forget that language. She's going to show up, right? I don't know if any of you have read Elizabeth Gilbert's books when she talks about fear. and she uses the analogy of a car, and she says, I've decided, here's my analogy. I'm going to invite her to take a ride with me. She can sit in the passenger seat. She can roll down the window if she wants some breeze. She can change the radio station. But the one thing she cannot do is drive.
Yes.
Right. And so that idea of let's not try to push everything away. We will spend our life reacting to things we don't want. Fear is going to come in. Isolation is going to come in. We can invite them in, but we can't let them be in charge. And that's why it's so important to have this network, to be mindful about it, to get ahead of it, and to work with somebody who can help you, because the process is not necessarily quick. It's not easy, but you know what? Nothing that is worth it is either of those things. Just, they aren't quick and easy. You don't need $1 zillion in startup capital, to your point, and to what I mentioned earlier about free systems, free social media in terms of the ecosystem themselves. Obviously, you want to be able to post well. You come to somebody like you, which is not free, worth every penny.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But that's also really important. That's why I said you want to have some startup capital, but then you're going to deploy it really strategically, right? So, and that's also why working with an advisor, I believe, is so useful, because right now I am building 12 businesses alongside my clients, in addition to being the managing partner and founder of my own.
Wow.
But it's possible.
I'm like,
right? But it's because I love it and because I'm so passionate about it. For me, right? Is it exhausting? Absolutely. Does it zap me of my energy? No. Like, I kind of feel like they're two different things. It gives me energy to help other people, to help women build their businesses. At the end of the week, of course, I need to rest. And my bathtub is my best friend these days, in addition to the park where I can take walks, right? The bath is like you recharge with a good bath and you take your walks. I had a great walk with a friend this morning, which really energized me for my day. But there is a difference between something that enervates you, that exhausts you in a way that it's because it's not where your genius lies.
yeah.
That I don't ever feel. And I feel really, really lucky. And here's the thing, I actually believe it's available to each one of us. I really do. You have to be thoughtful. You have to plan. You need the right people in your life. But none of us is, special or atypical. And that's the thing. I truly believe, I say to people like, not everybody can be an entrepreneur. And I said, I kind of don't believe that.
I believe anyone can. In fact, the four of us all created businesses over pandemic. And I have a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a man who hasn't touched a computer in 10 years, and he's a YouTuber. Yes, anybody can have a dream. I'm in love with all of this. I feel like this is a message that needs to be heard right now in so many ears of people who are just like, well, I'll just wait. I'm still going to apply for jobs. And stop. Pause. You can be anything. You can be a unicorn. I own how many? You don't know this about me, but I own so many unicorns. There's magic in the mystery of the unknown. And the unknown is really your untapped potential for what you've already got inside of you. And I encourage each of you to brain dump. After watching this video, brain dump, write down for 5 minutes every single word and thought that you have. Get it all on paper. Circle the ideas that came from this conversation. And contact Dr. Ali. And say, all right, I don't know what this means, but these were the things I circled.
Please do. I think, as I, said kind of at the top of the conversation, when you start to trust what comes out of you, you're already on the path. Everything else is logistics. It really is. So, you can find me, Allie is ALI, Allie at soundadvicewomen.com, soundadvicewomen.com. Find me, let's talk. I want everyone to understand that the voice that says they can't is not theirs. If there's one piece, really, it's not yours. It's not. So when that voice rears its head, I want you to counter it with, I hear you, but you're not my voice. So I don't need to listen. Right? I hear you, but I don't need to listen. And then come find me, and then we'll do some really cool stuff.
Oh my gosh, I'm in love with everything we've talked about today. Allie, I could talk to you for hours.
Yes, and
I mean, you know, and that's just the thing. My passion behind the success of women in the marketplace is so big, almost as big as yours. I can't say that it's just as big, because you live and breathe that empowerment on a daily basis, and I appreciate every ounce of every second you spent with me today. And I will be putting in the comments the info for Click Club, because I feel like it's really going to be awesome. And soundadvicewomen.com. My gosh, Allie. I feel like, those moments where you get to meet someone and you get to walk a wavelength, and it's things that you've thought and felt that someone actually just put into words. I won a trophy this morning. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your time. And I'm really excited to see the lives that you're going to be changing.
Well, you're so welcome. Right back at you. Thank you for all you do to amplify, because that is where, people really learn about what's possible, is when their messages are amplified.
Yes.
And all of us are working together, doing what we know best. That's how everything changes. It's such a pleasure to spend time with you, to know you. It can be like this every day. I promise. When you have the right people in your life doing the work that you're meant to do, every day feels like you won a trophy. And I really believe that I want that for every single person. And I'm really glad to have found a kindred spirit in you. So thanks.
Oh, I love you, Dr. Allie.
Right back at ya.
All right, my friends, definitely contact Dr. Allie. Check out the Click Club, soundadvicewomen.com. In all things, remember to be awesome. Cheers to your success, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.